Can you hear me okay? I will do. Thank you, country. Okay. So, they want to strike me on everything, so maybe I ended it quick enough that they didn't actually strike. They were just reviewing. They've been doing that a lot too. One of my very favorite creators has a YouTube channel called Ask a Mortician. And I seen her video this morning where she was very upset. Um, she's had her channel for many years and she does a lot of documentaries. She even does her own material in providing educational documentaries and dealing with information about death. She puts all of her disclaimers in there. She's very skilled. She has a legal team, but still, YouTube still struck her channel on a documentary that she produced herself. So, YouTube apparently has been hiring some new people. God love them for having a job. But a lot of creators are getting hit and struck over content being used, and it's like there's some kind of bot in there flagging certain material. And I don't think that it's so much based on copyright alone. I think they're trying to weed out some stuff because it's just a gnarly world with YouTube. Now, I lost a lot of viewers. They went over to some other creators that I also support and what they do. I completely understand that. But I promised my viewers something, and I normally don't make promises, but I want to continue and trying to keep my word on this. And Kinsuji, yes, ma'am. Yes, I'm sorry. I mean, I don't, under the profile, I'm just assuming you're a female, so I apologize in advance if you're a man. But you're absolutely correct from the other little thing. A lot of these serial killers share same similarities in behaviors. This is why we have specially trained people on upper levels of law enforcement that utilize these skills from others who are experienced in exposing these criminals. It's what criminal profiling is all about. Oh, I would love to land an awesome job as a criminal profiler because it takes some dedication, it takes a lot of skill and a lot of patience. However, my patience runs very thin when I see people in dangerous situations and when I see individuals tampering with someone else's morals and values for their own general welfare. I'm not going to go tell someone to go play in a snake pit. Don't do that. I'm not going to tell someone, let me rephrase that. I'm not going to tell anyone with malicious intent to go play in a snake pit. Although there's a few that faces of death would just be, shut up, Jennifer. Anyway, y'all see where I'm going with there. You can put the laughing emojis up if you want to. I'm just kind of being creative there. I'm not a psycho. I'm not. Really. Oh, she's sweet but a psycho, a little bit psycho. I'm just having fun with the bad situations, all I'm doing. I can't even see who all's in here. See, I've got Kinsuji and Country Christian right now. I've got 4 viewers and I can only see 2. So whoever's hidden in the background, thank you for joining us. Hit that like button for me because I've got a lot of content coming your way. I'm just doing the serial killer thing for the month of October because that's just something I like to do. Yes, we're talking about sexual assault. We're talking about sexual assault on children. We're talking about someone who has some very sadistic sexual tendencies. We're talking about some of the worst heinous crimes. I don't think anyone in the pit of hell could get any worse than some of these people that I'm sending and that I'm exposing. And these are serial killers that were very prominent in the 60s and the 70s. So over a 50-year span, we can see in today's modern society where technology has given more access to information. We have seen where advances in training with law enforcement and our society as a whole has become in being acknowledgeable of behaviors of certain individuals in society. And at the same time, our societal advances have weakened. And that's the unfortunate part. So, evil does exist. And it usually affects you. It's just evil. It's just evil. It's evil. And there's no let's just continue this, because if I get on a soapbox, y'all may not ever want to watch me again. So here we go. Let's mute. Oh, let's don't mute. I dropped that link earlier. I want to touch on his interview for a minute, and then we'll close out. And give it about 20, 30 minutes, and then we'll close out.
We have 3 witnesses who have just given sworn affidavits that says that he did have a relationship, a sexual relationship with my wife before I was convicted. And he went into court and said he didn't. Now, who are you going to believe, him or the 3 people? Or are you going to say these 3 people are lying? They saw that personally. They witnessed Schwartz having sexual contact with my wife, romancing, smooching in the back of a car. My sister and William Lane saw it approximately the same day, and then David Rogers saw it on a separate day. I suppose Schwartz was thinking in terms of, well, this is 20 years ago. Nobody's going to want to get involved in this anyway, and I'll just lie and get out of it. But 3 people actually have given the affidavits. I think Sandra probably has copies of them. She'll give them to you. The judge in Palm Beach, Judge Payne, has to tell the magistrate to issue an order to bring all the people together so that they can make the testimony. See, when Schwartz went down there, when we went down there last year at this time, Schwartz said, no, I never had a relationship with this man's wife until after he was in prison, which was a lie, all right? So then the 3 people came after he gave the testimony and gave the affidavits. Now that's new evidence that shows that the state's witness-in-chief is a perjurer, which is a felony. So Schwartz has committed a felony before the United States District Court. So it's just not a question of a civil matter, it's a question.
Ooh, doesn't that sound familiar? Okay, this is Schaefer talking about how he wants to appeal his case. He's wanting to point out everybody else's faults. He's wanting to play jailhouse lawyer, but he's going in prison for murder. So his narcissistic manipulative tendencies continue. Well, he's sitting on death row. Ooh, what a man. I'm gonna back and burn it up and I'm gonna focus a little bit more on him because if I spend a whole hour stopping and talking about this fool, understand this man's dead now. He was labeled a snitch. And Mr. Rivera made sure he not continue doing this. So kind of gives you an idea about his behaviors and his attitudes and his actions and how it's always somebody else's fault and how somebody was always doing far worse than him. So let's fast forward a little bit.
That, but it was valid. Wrong. I'm not saying what I did was right, but they were valid. I bet you they don't hitchhike anymore. Well, of course, the sheriff, when I called my superior and I said, I have the two prisoners and they've run away, right? And they're in handcuffs, we just got to go out and get them. And they told my superior what the circumstances were. Then he called and the sheriff said, whoa, this is, you're way over the line here, Jack. And I said, yeah, I guess I am. And that's when I was charged with aggravated assault, which is assault without intent to kill or inflict serious bodily harm. It goes beyond verbal, but it goes beyond deadly. I mean, it goes short of deadly, but beyond verbal. Well,
He just lied out his ass. Did y'all catch that? He just lied out his ass. Because in the video that we watched just a few minutes ago, the two women that did escape, Miss Wells and Miss Trotter, made their reports and told them that, told the sheriff, told the officer that picked them up. They were naked. They had knife wounds. This man was getting ready to gut and disembowel them, rape them, whatever his little sexual little fantasy he had played out in his mind. He was fixing to do to these women. And if it hadn't been that call on that radio, they got him on another call, and them young women had not broke free from their bondage, he would have filleted them like a fish. But he just sat here in this interview and said, oh, I guess you're right. What I did was wrong, but it was all verbal with no intent to harm them. I was just playing around. What the hell ever?
league ball with the Catholic League in Atlanta in 1958, 59, and 60, and would have gone to Marist Military School with all the other guys from Assumption. Either went to Pius X or Marist. That's all you went to. And then we moved down here, and I went to the Catholic school. Did all the normal things, mostly sports. The Catholics are very big on sports. Basketball and football, especially in the Catholic League. I don't know what it's like now in Atlanta, but back then it was, you had the private school circuit, where all the different private schools had their own league, and we played Westminster and all the different private Catholic schools and private Christian schools. Well, that was my thing. I was a golfer. I played at Chastain Park, and I was at Chastain Park when I was
So, did y'all catch how he started bragging about himself, about all of his accomplishments, and how he went to these Ivy League schools, and how he was going to go to military school, and and all this mess. I mean, talk about, oh, and he smiles the whole time. Y'all pick up on how his hand movements are, how he smiles the whole time, like I'm this upstanding citizen. Everybody loved me. I did my job, blah, 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 blah. Y'all catch on to it? And you're right. His tone stays level out. So, this man has absolutely got some issues.
Fort Lauderdale. I remember it very well, out underneath the ficus tree. I can even tell you what she was wearing. It was lovely. She was one of the girls at the Catholic school. But as far as, having sex, there was none of this sexual stuff like that goes on in the schools today. And everybody's, wearing little brief costumes and everything. You didn't see that back in 1961 and 62. I had good experiences. I went, in fact, when Kathy Wrightson, the first kiss, I went steady with her all the way through high school. So until I was out of high school, I only dated one girl. Well, the regular petting that anybody does when you're in high school, kissing and petting. But as far as sexual intercourse, no, not in high school.
Again, downplaying his actions because, again, he dated this young woman in high school and he forced her to do some pretty heinous sexual acts. Forced her to role play, and he's sitting up here all smiles and, oh no, not me. I was the perfect gentleman. Yes, that's exactly right. He came in contact with a young woman. He forced her to do things. He probably brainwashed her. He probably subjected her and exploited her. He probably even exploited her amongst his Ivy League friends. Now, I say Ivy League friends because I'm using what he just confessed to in those terms. But yeah, this is exactly what he did. He was building himself up for the interviewer, and the whole damn time he's grinning about it like he's really got away with something. All right, let's pick it up a little bit more. I'm going to fast forward a little bit.
Said, we had a great time together and it's time to move on, complicate things by trying to remain steadies, but there was no animosity or anything like that. I was hurt naturally, because I take a much deeper interest in my relationships. Sandy's, she's flighty and superficial in her relationships, and she moves around, bounces around from one to another, whereas I'm a one-man, one-woman type of person because that's the way that I was raised and trained in the Catholic Church. I always blame it on the Catholic Church, just like Frank Zappa and every other Catholic guy that gets hooked into this one-man relationship. He said, yeah, I've got to blame it on the nuns and the priests because that's what they taught us. And I was just not taught to be promiscuous. If you had a relationship that was emotional and sexual with
I took a drink about the time he said that and almost spewed it across the room. Kinsuji, I hate to sound like I'm calling you out, sweetie, but I think you might be. Whew. Me too. Me too. Well, let's just put it in God's arms and hope he puts it up on those who are, Yep, I did. And actually, when I was covering the Paul John Knowles case file a couple of days ago, that was some of the things that was brought out in his case file too that he experienced. So yes. Now, I was almost struck a while ago with the video that I was saying, but if you go back and you watch that video that we were watching earlier that I dropped the link to, it goes on into grave detail about some things that they do and have done. Yeah, this guy's out there, I'm telling you.
Confronted by a reporter by the name of Marla, supposedly dead. So she went to Stone, and he reduced it from 34 to 9. Okay, and gave her the names. And I went and took those names in those jurisdictions, and I wrote to the police departments or the sheriff's departments in those jurisdictions, and I said, I understand I am the suspect in this crime, and I want to take polygraph. I want to be interviewed. I want the whole 9 yards. I want an attorney, blah, blah, blah. And I went through all 9 of them and ended up getting letters from every one saying that I have cooperated, and that they have given me whatever tests they wanted to give me, and that I am no longer a suspect. And Sandra's got that stuff. I've asked her to give it to people like yourself, where she's got copies of the letters from each state attorney's office clearing me as a suspect because of my cooperation. And the latest one that we did was the FBI. Mr. Hazelwood wrote a letter and said, you are not on our list as being a serial killer. This is Robert Stone and his little cabal down there saying, yeah, that man's a serial killer. Say, yeah, but you've never linked me to a crime scene, Mr. Stone. When am I going to be linked to a crime scene? You can call me whatever you want to call me, but let's see some evidence. Sandra called him on the phone and said, you've accused the man of having sex with corpses. Do you have something to back that up? I was furious, man. Could you imagine a Catholic boy raised in a Catholic school and being accused of having sex with a dead body on the front page of a newspaper? Outrageous. Makes me mad just talking about it. And she says, well, I'll call him and ask him. Calls him on the phone and says, well, you've accused the man of necrophilia here in this news article. What is your proof? What do you base this on? He says, well, he wrote stories. He's written it all up in fiction. He must be doing it. I said, duh. That's supposed to be the evidence. My book is supposed to be the evidence.
Did y'all catch that? You talking about Alan Vornos? Yeah, I know Alan's story. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't want to come off bias about Alan Vornos, but Alan Vornos, she was a very traumatized individual. That woman didn't know what she wanted to be. She just wanted to be out. Out. She was asked, where do you see yourself? Out. She had no escape, so she went crazy. It run her absolutely crazy because she could never find her out. She could never go far enough away to escape from her trauma. Eileen Vornos was a very sad situation, and I don't want to come off too overly empathetic about her, but looking into her stuff, and I'm not saying what she did was justified. I'm not saying that at all. But just looking at her overall character, that woman was very deeply traumatized. Let's take a minute. Y'all have any questions? Oh, before you ask anything, that little clip that I just showed whenever he was talking about the necrophilia and the comment about that, about being accused, how he was furious. Did you see how he laughed? He laughed. He keeps looking, well, he keeps looking to the right, keeps looking to one side. See, profilers, criminal profilers, and body language experts, they look at that stuff. And usually when somebody looks to one direction or the other, that means they're playing out the things in their head. They're playing out, okay, I only want to tell them just enough to keep their interest, but I also want myself to look really good and not give away too much. I'm really trying to get out of my situation, so what can I do, say, and how do I, they've got a million and one things going through their head doing this. This comes from what I like to call narcissistic grooming. We've already know that his dad was an abusive alcoholic. We already know that he was a very privileged child, having the amenities in life that most children during that time frame did not have. You got a war going on through his teenage years. I'm kind of curious as to ask how he dodged the draft, because the Vietnam War was at its peak during the time that he was committing all these crimes, and he had become a police officer. So I'm almost thinking that being who he was and being the family he was from, if I were to take a educated guess, I would think that maybe a few strings were pulled to keep him out of the military, because I don't know, that sounds far-fetched, but there's a lot of young men that went into law enforcement or joined other branches of service or took on going to college to take courses on specific career opportunities. That was a big thing then to dodge. I hate saying draft dodging, but it is what it is. A lot of young men were trying to avoid going to war during that time, and they were taking. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Just to keep them out of the military, they sure would, and I've got proof of that right here in my own hometown. All right, let's go back, pick it back up. I'm gonna fast forward just a little bit.
That I didn't. Just a little bit too many Dirty Harry movies for me. You get to see this stuff on TV, and they do all this weird stuff, and then you do it in real life. It isn't like that at all. Of course, there was a trunk. There was 2 trunks. It was filled up with my literary work. Hundreds and hundreds, 10 years worth. I was not there. Okay, I was not there. I have been told that they have found stuff like this, all right? I have asked Sandra, I said, you go and you see it, eyeball it. I said, because every time that I have asked to see it, nobody knows anything about it, all right? If you're saying that you found this and that in my house, I have a right to see it. Don't I have a right to see it? Produce it. I deny that it exists. I'm not denying they say that they found this stuff, and I'm sure that they found jewelry in my house, because they went and they searched my sister's bedroom. And they took the jewelry out of my sister's bedroom, not out of my bedroom and not out of my trunk, out of my sister's jewelry box, out of my sister's drawers. My brother's girlfriend, Sandra Moses, they took her clothes, and they said, we found the clothes of women. It belonged to Sandy Moses. It was stuff that Sandy said, oh, that's mine. But
your sister?
No, Sandy Moses was my brother's girlfriend. Okay, they've got a list, a search warrant They've got certain things on the search warrant they're looking for. They didn't find anything that was on the warrant that they were looking for. They took thousands of items out of the home. They just went in, we'll take this, we'll take clothes, we'll take jewelry. Look at this. This is stories. We'll take these stories. We'll take these guns. Wow, this is no way to.
Again, he wasn't there when all of this stuff was confiscated under a search warrant. So, again, he's making this crap up. He's trying to put the blame off on his brother's girlfriend, his sister, anyone but him. Wow, this sounds real familiar.
Prison from 27 years old until you're 75 years old and then go on the street, forget it. You know, no, I don't want to deal with the stress. That's my personal, I would not take it. I make a life for myself in here. I do make a life for myself in here. I do the best I can with what I've got. And you're not going to put me back on the street in 2016 because I ain't going. So that's the reality of that. Yeah, big deal. What am I going to do? How am I going to make a living? You know, live under a bridge with the rest of the homeless people? You know, I read the paper. No, not for me. I got a nice little cell. I got a bed. I got coffee. I don't have very many needs. As long as I've got books and I have access to a library, I will be intellectually stimulated. And I don't want to leave. Not at 2016. Now you come in tomorrow and say, hey, I still have a chance at 45 years old to make something out of my life. And I have told those cops and the state attorneys and everybody else, I said, connect me to any crime, any murder, anywhere, and convince me that I'm involved in, and I'll plead guilty. Just like I pled guilty when I was guilty, I pled guilty. I said, but don't make this shit up and come in here and say, yeah, you're a serial killer. Yeah, we suspect this. And yeah, we've got that. And I say, oh, you've got that? Show me. And they don't have it. The diary, the great death diary that they said they had. I've sent all.
No, he didn't want to go to prison. He wanted to live, continue to do what he was doing, and use his level of authority to get away with it. But he got caught. He only wanted to stay in jail because him wanting to be so famous, he had took and put all this shit out there to the public, law enforcement, people in society that knew about what he was talking about, knew what he was putting out there before he went to jail. They already knew, they had observed, they had been watching the newspaper articles. He knew that he would be targeted if he was released. But there was no hope in him ever getting released because of his sentence. Because remember earlier when I told you he was sentenced for the murders. He was sentenced for the murders of Susan Place and Georgia Jessup. He was his criminal charges were 2 counts of murder and 1 count of aggravated assault. He wasn't going anywhere because once they sentenced him and put him in jail, he wasn't going anywhere. That's why he started writing all of these little short story confessions, so he could say, that no one could say, yeah, you did it. No, you didn't do it. No, it was just a story. It was just a made up story. I just wanted to be famous because I wanted the notoriety and I wanted the recognition that Ted Bundy was getting and all this. Well, he befriended Ted Bundy. He befriended John Wayne Gacy. He befriended 3 of the worst serial killers in the United States. So he wanted to be as famous as as the press. Hey, no, as the press had made them famous. So this man talking right now, he just wants the press to like him even more.
people looking for the diary. It does not exist. It's a figment of Robert Stone's imagination. Okay? So, and I'll make that statement right to your camera. Any of you cops out there think that I am involved in any crime in your jurisdiction, come to me. I will take a polygraph. I will take the test. You can take my fingerprints, whatever you want to do. I'll cooperate. But have something. Don't say you're a serial killer. You know, anybody can say that. Back it up. And they haven't done that, not even with the ones that they convicted me of. They got false evidence. They've got all kinds of evidence they collected at that crime scene that shows.
They got false evidence. There's 2 dead women. He matches up with the first 2 that escaped from him. They've got all this evidence collected from a search warrant. They've got all this mumbo jumbo crap going on coming out of his mouth and his writings and his diaries. They've got all of this crap that they collected secured in an evidence vault, but he's demanding receipts. Wow.
Say that they found all this stuff in my home. They didn't find it in my home. They found it at my mother's home. Okay? And I've never seen it. All right? Saying they keep adding stuff, and I keep taking the sounder. I said, look, they say they've got this and they've got that. Go down to Broward County Sheriff's Department, because that's who did the search. And I said, ask to see it. I know lots of serial killers in here, and I don't know of any of them that are denying it. The latest one, Donald Evans, he can't shut him up. Evans got bodies all over, taking people on tours. Ted Bundy was the same way. The closer he got to the chair, and he wasn't denying it, except officially he was denying it. But when he was talking to people like myself and to psychologists and to writers, he wasn't denying it. He was just saying, hey, I got a thing in court. I can't go ahead and admit this because of my court thing. Jerry Stano was the same way. He took them when he killed 40 women. He took them and showed them the bodies. Bernard Giles, he's another one. He was having sex with the corpses, like Ted Bundy was having sex with the corpses. Caught him with a fucking rotten body right there. He didn't deny anything. He pled guilty. These guys, Otis Toole, I talked to him this morning. Otis doesn't deny anything. Otis says, yeah. He says, Henry Lucas is lying. Henry Lucas and I went out and we killed over 100 people together, and he's trying to say that it never happened. Otis doesn't deny anything. Otis says, yeah. He says, Henry Lucas is lying. Henry Lucas and I went out and we killed over 100 people together, and he's trying to say that it never happened. It happened. I admit it happened. Be in prison from 27 years old until you're 75 years old, and then go on the street. They stole it, okay? What they got is they took, oh, this looks good. This looks like it might be inculpatory to make him look like a serial killer. So we'll keep this one over here and we'll throw this part away. So by the time the police got done with it, you got a piece over here, murder plan, which is nothing more than a little scenario. This is just a sketch to build something on. And I'm going to read this, and by the time I get it read and you get it cut, it'll be turning into a confession type of thing, is what it gets turned into. Reading his work in a setting where people understand that this is a reading, like a poetry reading or something. That's one thing, but so many people have said, we think you're a killer because of that graphic stuff that you write. People have said this to me. They said, how can you write this kind of stuff and not be a killer? I said, well, you do it by research. You do it by concentration. You do it by creativity. I said, you do it the same way that everybody else who writes graphic murder stuff does it. You work at it. This isn't just something that happens. This is something that you pay money to go to the university to learn how to do it correctly. I mean, I graduated from Florida Atlantic University, and I took creative writing, and I specialized in short stories. I did not specialize in doing novels or journalism. I specialized in short stories, and these are short stories.
Specialized in short stories. Seems that way, don't it, country? They're everywhere, though. Yep. Yep. So I'm going to drop this link in chat, and then we're going to finish up with this video so y'all can see it and watch it for yourself. Well, that ain't the right one. Hold on a minute.
I've had so many bad experiences with media and police and everybody, you know, tricking me and saying do this and do that. So many bad experiences with media and police and everybody, you know, tricking me and saying do this and do that, and you say it and it comes back in a negative way. And I hope that by writing killer fiction that it is entertaining. Obviously, it's entertaining. A lot of people buy it. But I dislike it when people say, you created this work, therefore you're a killer, or this proves that what the state is alleging, that you're a serial killer because you are capable of writing that. And that upsets me a great deal when people say that. The state of Florida has submitted this part right here as proof to the federal judge that I committed those murders. It's in their answer to my habeas corpus. They have put this piece in there and say, look, judge, this proves he killed them. It has nothing to do with that crime whatsoever. But you see, that is their pitch, because they have nothing else. They have no proof that I did anything. They have this. Okay. Now, you want me to read it? I'll read it. And I'll just have to trust you to do the right thing.
Oh my, starting to hit home with some things, isn't it? Just patiently waiting. Patiently waiting. All right, I dropped that link. I'm going to leave you hanging. Not literally, but you get the idea. Ha ha ha. So I'm going to put the StreamYard account up, and if you want to take the link and come up, you're more than welcome to. You're more than welcome to. Well, honey, I know this is a very sensitive matter, a very triggering matter. A very triggering matter. But this gentleman is no longer with us. This is one less party that we have to worry about. You know, they got a conviction on evidence, and they got a confession on victim statements that was able to make statements, witness statements, had character witnesses. And you can actually find an archive video. I didn't post it, but there is an archive video of his trial. And you can tell how, when you watch, if you find it and watch it, when you find and watch the trial footage, you'll see how his stories change. You'll see how his motive takes shape. It's just this dude was evil. This dude was evil. And while I'm still talking, let me see if I can get this tab pulled up. I'm still sharing my screen, so y'all can, I don't know if y'all can see it or not. I don't think you can, but just bear with me just for a minute. Let me pull up something here. See if it'll pull up how many was missing in Florida during the time that he was out. Wish.com. I don't know if I want to go to that one. Okay, I'm sorry for the brief pause there. Florida State. There we go. That's what I wanted. All right, let me go back here. Let me stop there. Let me present. Share screen. Let's go here. And I'm going to leave my mic on because there's no audio to play back. This is the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, also called FDLE. Ernestine Boston went missing in 1975. Pearl Bartley went missing in 1969. These are the missing. Some of these are current, some of these are not. These are unsolved cases. Missing from Tallahassee. It's a murder case. Tallahassee murder case. These people have been murdered and they don't have any idea who murdered them. Jacksonville, 1996. Jacksonville, 1996. Jacksonville, 1996. So 1996 seems to be a pretty hopping year. There's one in 1997 from Jacksonville. She was found murdered in a transient camp. She was found deceased in a closet of her house in Clearwater. This one was found murdered at his home in Jacksonville. So there you go. I ain't moving to Jacksonville anytime soon. Jacksonville. And Jacksonville is one of the largest trafficking hubs in the state of Florida. So, before we close out, is there any special song request? Because if not, I've got one I'd like to play, and then we'll bid each other adieu. Everyone in your thoughts and prayers, loving thoughts and wishes for everyone. I want everyone to enjoy the weekend. This is my pre-birthday weekend. Got a birthday coming up on Tuesday. So have a busy day on Monday. So I don't know that I will go live on Monday or over the weekend. I might, depending on what happens between now and Sunday around noon. So I'm probably going to pick up Tuesday or Wednesday with more October serial killers. And I promise Tony the Tiger will not be mentioned. So, this being said, going to tune into some music, and my local law enforcement would put blowing their horn out here. Gotta love my departments. I do. I respect my departments a lot. So thank you very much for the birthday wishes. Like I said, it's not till Tuesday, so I don't know what kind of surprises my family has for me. I said I wanted to go eat fish, get a haircut, because I've not had a haircut in 5 years to amount to anything. I want a new hairstyle for my birthday. He might surprise me and take me out. I don't know. He's just, his idea of celebrating is a bonfire and a couple of grilled shish kebabs, which is okay with me. I just still want fish for my birthday for some reason. I'm craving fish, and I love catfish. Okay, so I'm gonna log out. I'm gonna leave this up. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I'm not leaving this up. What am I thinking? Oh my goodness. Let's stop the screen. And let's walk on out, taking a long stroll down Electric Avenue. Hold tight. You'll stay in Colorado. Oh, bless your heart. I do too. I love catfish. Actually, there's 2 places here close to me that are both catfish hotels. One of them is a historical landmark that's real near me, and I've not eaten there in, oh my gosh, it's been years since I've eaten there. But there's always such a large crowd, and believe it or not, I'm not into the big crowded areas where it's an eating establishment. That's just not me. I don't like waiting in line to eat. About the extent of me waiting in line to eat is a drive-through. But I love to go in when it's nice and calm, not crowded, and just sit down and enjoy a meal where you're not rushed. That's me. All right, so love each and every one of you. Thank you for joining me and supporting me. Hit the like button before you leave, and let's enjoy a little bit of tunes while I'm not monetized. And I will see y'all again soon. Y'all have a wonderful weekend. God bless and keep each and every one of you. fragile, and the heart so hollow, shattered with words impossible to follow. Saying I'm fragile, I tried to be, I search only for something I can't see. I have my own life, and I am stronger than you know. But I carry this feeling when you walked into my house that you won't be walking out the door. Carry this feeling when you walked into my house that you won't be walking out the door. Lovers forever, face to face. My city or mountains, stay with me, stay. I need you to love me, I need you today. Give to me your leather, take from me my lace. You're in the moonlight with your sleepy eyes. Could you ever love a man like him? And you were right when he walked into your house. I knew he'd never want to leave. Sometimes he's a strong man, sometimes he's cold and scared, and sometimes he cries. Time he saw you, we were living out his nights. Somehow he get by. Lovers forever, face to face. My city or mountains, stay with me, stay. I need you to love me, I need you today. Give to me your leather, take from me my lace. Face to face. My city or mountain, stay with me, stay. I need you to love me, I need you today. Give to me your leather, take from me my lace. Take from me my lace. Take from me my lace. All right, guys, everybody have a good weekend. Love each and every one of you. Good night.